Welcome to day 5 of Peaceful Pathways. We've already almost made it through. If you're seeing this for the first time today, welcome. Peaceful Pathways is a serene environment focused on cultivating relaxation, mindfulness, acceptance, and awareness. I'm Michelle, your guide along the path. I'm a mental health therapist with over 14 years of experience, an aspiring author currently querying agents, a peacemaker, and an advocate for those without a voice. Today, we are going to be talking about somatic awareness, including restoring the mind-body connection. So, what our time will look like today, we're going to be talking about the foundations and importance of somatic awareness, communication and integration between our mind and body, interoception, which is sensing our internal body states, proprioception, which is our ability to navigate our body in the space around us, and awareness of body sensations in practice. All right, so before we jump in, I drew a card from Rethink Affirmation Cards for Mindful Life and Daily Actions. Today I drew Intuition, and it says, I trust my intuition as a compass, guiding me towards the right path. I listen to the whispers of my inner voice, knowing that it holds wisdom and insight. With confidence in my decisions, I embrace the power of intuition to navigate life's choices and embrace my true purpose. Well, I love what it talks about with guiding us towards the right path. That our intuition lets us know when we're walking down the right path for us versus the path that may be in the wrong direction. In Peaceful Pathways, we focus on the path that isn't always perfect. Nobody's life is perfect, but it's the path that does not involve avoidance of pain, suffering. Um, and in that, it allows us to walk down a path of peace. On that note, let's begin. So, talking about the foundations and importance of somatic awareness, we'll start with what it is. So it's being aware in our consciousness, being conscious of our body sensations and internal states, which creates that mind-body connection. It also allows us to regulate our emotions because it cues us in to where in our body we're experiencing different emotions. And it also allows us to reduce emotional distress during times of stress. As all the tools do in Peaceful Pathways, it helps with stress management. So it reduces stress by recognizing and responding to those physical stress signals. We can start to notice when we're experiencing the signs and symptoms of stress, like maybe we notice our heart rate starts increasing, maybe we can feel our blood pressure rise. Maybe we notice that our digestion is slowing down or our breathing is changing. So, when we start to recognize those signs of stress, then we can take steps to reduce them. And that improves our overall health, mental health, and also our physical health by cueing us in when maybe something is different, or just kind of off, and we need to go to the doctor and have it checked out. So, where does body awareness come from? Eastern practices like yoga and Tai Chi promoted mindfulness and body awareness through movement and breath. And then Western somatic therapies, you can actually participate in somatic therapy. Really focuses on body awareness to improve our mental and physical health through kind of different and various therapeutic techniques. And it is important to understand how this progressed in order to enrich our modern mind body practices. So, like we talked about, it really started with ancient practices and then it was honed, refined, adapted to fit Western culture and our needs of a hectic, chaotic life. So the benefits of somatic awareness is it reduces anxiety, it improves our posture and our movement because we're moving more mindfully in our space. It increases self-awareness because we're connected to the cues that our body is sending us, and it increases resilience by building our coping strategies and allowing us a way to navigate life, navigating stress in a healthier way. So, our mind and body need to communicate with one another and integrate. So, we talked about this on day one of Peaceful Pathways. So, our mind and body influence each other. I guess maybe it was more so day two with top down processing and bottom up processing. So, our neural pathways in our nervous system allows us to have that communication with our limbs, with our body, and our mind. So, our brain is connected to our spinal cord, and then nerves go out from our spinal cord into the rest of our body. So our brain communicates and gives our body signals, and then our body communicates upward and lets the brain know when something needs to be addressed. Like one of the easiest things is when we're hungry, our stomach will send those signals to the brain that we need to eat, that we're feeling hungry. So, hormones also allow our body to communicate with each other. It's not just the neural pathways, but it's also our hormones. Our certain hormones are released, like we talked about on the first day of Peaceful Pathways. Hormones are released when we experience stress, that adrenaline and cortisol. And so those are hormones that impact our body, that send signals to our body to like increase our heart rate, um, all those things that we talked about. And then our immune system also responds to our mental and body signals. So, delving a little bit more into neuroscience or neuropsychology, so there is that integration where sensory information, so we all know our five senses. So we hear, we see, we smell, we taste, and we touch. Um, so those senses send cues, send information to our mind. So that's another way that our brain is integrated with our body. Like if I touch and pick up my pen, oh, there we go. Then then my brain knows and recognizes that I picked up my pen. It also allows us to regulate our body function. So, like eating when we feel hungry instead of ignoring that bodily cue. Also, our body sends us signals that we're tired and we need to rest because that's the time where our body heals and we absolutely need our sleep. We can't keep functioning if we don't get the rest that we need. So, our body sends us cues that we need to rest, and then our mind helps us to regulate that to go to sleep. So like I said, that neuropsychology, the neuroscience explains those mechanisms that tie in the mind and body. A lot of it runs through those things that we discussed. So, how we integrate the mind body connection and promote that in a practical way, breathing techniques are one of the easiest ways to do that. So, breathing helps reduce stress, promote relaxation because it regulates our nervous system. Biofeedback also helps. So, if you have a smartwatch, you actually have a way to use biofeedback. Some watches you can, and mine is one of them, you can observe your heart rate while you're breathing. So it lets me know how relaxed I am, even. And we'll set a time. So when you're noticing your heart rate and how your heart rate reduces with breathing, that's a form of biofeedback. And that's probably the easiest way to use biofeedback is observe your heart rate, do some breathing techniques, and lower it. And then mindful movements like yoga, tai chi, they help to connect, to promote the mind body connection as well. We'll talk little bit more about yoga tomorrow, so I won't spend a lot of time on that now. So we'll talk a little bit more about the mind body connection and especially somatic awareness. So, one piece, like I said, of somatic awareness is interoception. So, what interoception is the sense of the body's internal state, like the heartbeat, hunger, awareness of the breath. You can notice your chest rise and fall or your stomach expand during belly breathing just to really observe those internal states. We can feel when we're tired. We can feel when we're hungry. All of those things are interoception because we're aware of the internal processes inside of us. It also influences our emotional experience by connecting body sensations to feelings and moods. Um, this is a big part of emotion regulation is to start to observe and notice where in your body you're feeling emotions as you're feeling them. For example, with anger, you may notice that your body clenches its hands into fists. You might clench your jaw. If you're angry, maybe your heart rate speeds up. So, starting to notice where you feel those sensations in your body can help you learn and understand what emotions you're experiencing. So, how those signals are processed in the brain, our insular cortex processes those body signals and integrates the sensory information. So, like I talked about, we receive we receive signals or cues from our five senses, and then also the interoception also provides senses, and it's the insular cortex in our brain that processes all of those signals. And then our anterior cingulate cortex also links those body signals with emotion and cognitive functions. So, how we think and feel is connected with our body through the anterior cingulate cortex. So, as we talked about, interoception can lead to some enhanced emotion regulation because you're understanding where you're feeling those emotions in your body. So, it helps you to be able to regulate those emotions, to be able to achieve a better balance. It allows us to make better decision making because we're listening to our body and we're integrating those physical and emotional cues. And it also helps us to use adaptive stress responses because when we listen to our body and know we're experiencing or displaying signs of stress, then we can practice those stress reduction techniques to be able to alleviate our stress. So that brings us to proprioception, which is our ability to navigate the body in space. So, proprioception gives us information about the angles of our joints, our muscle conditions. That way, we can control our movement. It allows for smooth, coordinated movement without relying on visual cues. So proprioception is like if you think about when it's dark, maybe you get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, you don't necessarily have to turn on the lights because of your memory. And so proprioception allows you to be able to navigate your space in darkness, because you're aware of where your body is in your space. Same is true during the day. It helps us so we don't fall. We, don't bump into things because we're aware of our body in relation to the space we're in. So there are some sensory receptors and pathways that are involved. So our muscle spindles detect changes in muscle length, which provides feedback for body position and movement. There are some uh, organs that sense muscle tension. It relates to reflexes, motor control. We respond in those ways because of those senses. And then there's also joint receptors that send signals through the nerves and into the spinal cord and up to the brain. So, proprioception helps us to improve our posture because it senses our body position and it notices any muscle tension that we may have. It's crucial for balance, like I talked about already. It prevents falls during standing and movement because we're aware of where we're at in space. Um, so also if we need to stand on one foot, it helps us to balance. And then it also allows for precision with our movement. So those things are obviously needed for walking, sports, and dance. So people can dance and engage in sports because of proprioception. So how do we practice it? How do we improve proprioception? Um, I guess first of all is how or what happens when there's a mind-body disconnect. So stress can disconnect our mind and body, especially chronic stress. Um, so chronic stress tends to result in physical symptoms like headaches, muscle tension. We may overlook emotional distress, which worsens overall well-being. So it's really important to be aware of those cues our body is sending, when we're stressed. So, how we enhance our somatic awareness, things like a body scan meditation, mindful breathing, movement exercises, and sensory focus practices. So, body scans are essentially running through your body, checking in with it to notice if you're experiencing any tension, from your head down to your toes. Then mindful breathing is paying attention to the breath, not controlling it, just observing the breath. So you're not doing some breathing techniques where you're retaining breath or inhaling longer, exhaling longer. You're just observing your natural breath. And Gentle movement exercises can increase the bodily awareness through conscious physical activity. Things like yoga, like we talked about, Tai Chi. And then the sensory focus practices engages things like touch, sound, other senses to integrate the information um, to alleviate stress and increase awareness of the impact of those things on our body. So, somatic practices in therapy, mental health therapists tend to use somatic therapies to be able to help us process trauma and reduce stress effectively. There's a theory in psychology that chronic stress, traumatic experiences are held and stored within our body. So, somatic techniques can help to relieve that and let go of that from the body. And then mindfulness practices increases our awareness of our body sensations and emotional states. So being aware of the cues that our body is sending us. And then it's also used in sports, dance, and rehabilitation. So athletes apply somatic awareness to enhance performance and reduce injury risk through body control, making sure you're landing correctly, falling correctly, all of those types of things. Dancers use somatic techniques to for movement quality and again to prevent injuries, physical injuries. And then physical rehabilitation increases or integrates somatic techniques to restore movement and regain function after an injury. All right, so it's our turn to practice. We're going to do some mindful awareness. So go ahead and get comfortable. You can close your eyes if you'd like to. Take a moment to become fully aware of your body in this present moment. What sensations are you experiencing? Bring your awareness to your breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest with each inhalation and exhalation. Consider the temperature of the room around you, perhaps feeling the warmth or coolness on your skin. And notice the support of your chair, which holds you as you sit. You might notice a growl from your stomach, signaling hunger, an urge telling you to use the restroom, or a faint twinge of muscle soreness, which reminds you of the invigorating workout you completed this morning. Okay. If you need to pause and get a notebook or your journal, now is the time to do so. And we will just write down what sensations you noticed during the next 3 minutes. I'll go ahead and start the timer and let you journal what sensations you noticed. Okay. How was that for you? All right, well, we made it through. In conclusion, the mind body connection is increased through somatic awareness. Somatic awareness helps to better regulate our emotions and improve our mental well-being. It improves our physical coordination and our body movement, and it helps our overall everyday well-being. All right, well, thank you for being here in Peaceful Pathways. Please join us for a monthly healing sanctuary tomorrow, September 27th, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time. If you're in a different time zone than Central Time, please adjust accordingly. That is for paid subscribers to Hope Peace Together. Um, so during our healing sanctuary, we work on mindfulness, connection, personal growth. We practice some guided practices, reflective exercises, and you'll have opportunities to share. So I hope to see you on September 27th from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Otherwise, I look forward to our last day of Peaceful Pathways tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a great one.